Well, I guess we'll start. We got 3 hours of shit to get through here. It's listed as Monday Nitro 137 on April 27th, 1998, though, as we noted, this show took place over 2 days. The Nitro girls were jumping rope when Alex Wright interrupted them to dance and security took him away. Kevin Nash and Randy Savage came out for a promo.
My God, the Wolfpack has formed.
Yeah.
Finally, we get that music soon.
Oh, yeah, there'll be another. That's good news.
Yeah.
We don't have to hear the same NWO song 8 times in a show. Talked about Hall for a while. Said, yes, Hall has been away. The last time I saw him, Kevin Nash said, he was drinking a pina colada.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
And his hair was perfect.
Oh, I'm glad the guy who's had multiple alcohol suspensions has a good drink. It's good to hear.
You know that's a play on the Werewolves of London, right?
I did not.
Yeah, it's a song.
He mentioned it.
Yeah.
I did not know his line there about... It's a terrible song.
It's not good.
I don't like it. Anyway. So
great song.
I had forgotten that Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were the tag team champions because they haven't even been a team in like 3 months, let alone defend the belts. So he says he and Hall will defend the tag belts against Giant and Sting. Says Randy Savage is a member of the Wolfpack. He called out Bret Hart for hitting him in the belt last week. Quoted Tombstone. Said, if you're the sheriff, I'll be your Huckleberry. Savage runs down Bret. I have no idea what Savage said. Something about Hulk Hogan being the bomb. I don't know. They brought out Conan to be the new member of the Wolfpack.
Keep that in mind for later.
Mm-hmm. Conan began to run down Hulk Hogan, and it looked like here they cut him off mid-sentence, and they went to commercial. Had a Juventud Guerrera video package.
They're simultaneously trying so hard and not trying at all.
Yes.
With this guy.
Yes.
It's kind of amazing, actually.
Not to mention, I've said many, many times, but WCW's promo packages were so low rent.
Yeah. This one required Juventud Guerrera to speak, and specifically to recite dialogue.
Sure.
So it had to be edited heavily. Can't just give him 100 words and say, Hoovy, read this.
And they they showed him one side of his face, and then with the genius of their editing, they flipped the image.
Yeah.
When he came...
What he's doing, remember the grade school photos where
Yes.
there's like the smiling picture in the corner, but the big one is like the blank face staring off into God knows what?
Sure.
That's what they were doing with Hoovy here. Anyway, he said he's the descendant of Aztec warriors and he won't quit. Chris Jericho came out for a promo. He's got a big picture of Dean Malenko. Larry says, he didn't paint that. It's not even a painting.
No, he didn't, Larry.
You're right. You got him there, Z. So
Larry had to be right about something on the show.
Jericho
And
interviewed...
since they book on the fly, he doesn't know where anything's going anymore.
That's true.
So he's got to make up stuff to be right about.
You know what drives me the most crazy? When Nitro first starts, the fans are chanting, Larry, Larry, and he has to turn around and mug for the people.
Yeah.
And the people are losing their
You
minds.
just now noticed that?
No, it bothers me every week because he doesn't deserve a chant.
Craig, he's a living legend.
I don't care what you think he is.
He's a living legend. What do you have against Larry?
He's a bumbling fool on commentary.
There's a lot of bumbling fools on commentary.
This company is run by bumbling fools, as we shall get to. Anyway, Jericho versus Chavo Guerrero. Eddie came out with Chavo, but he was all buddy-buddy with Jericho until Chavo kicked them together and Eddie went flying off the apron. Then Jericho won with a Boston Crab. Eddie gets in Jericho's face, but Jericho says, no, it's all Chavo's fault. And so Eddie slaps Chavo and berates him. And they left. And the only other notable thing about this is they have been using Jericho's WWE music.
Right.
They played it when he came out here. Then they played it when the bell rang and he'd won. But when they were showing replays, they left in his original WCW Pearl Jam knockoff song.
I think it's because it was a 1-800-COLLECT. That was the promo. That was the sponsor for it.
Okay.
So the guy running the editing probably just figured, okay, it can't be playing now.
There was another
what I
one.
mean?
There was another one where Jericho's match ended and they played Dean Malenko's music.
Well, that was later on this show.
That was weird.
Well, it's because he was making
He's
fun
pretending to be Dean Malenko now.
Yes. Did you not pick that? Okay,
I
we'll get to
did,
it.
but
We'll get
it
to
was
it.
still, I mean, my point is, like, why did they play Jericho's music when he came out?
They didn't.
You were confused.
They did.
The first time.
Brian.
Fuck it, who cares?
You do, apparently.
No, it's unimportant.
We'll get to it later.
I got more important things to talk about, like Bill Goldberg and Scott Norton.
That was great. We're not there yet.
Do we really need to talk about Hogan and Eric? Go ahead.
Had a clip of Hoovy losing his match to Jericho months ago. And then they showed Buff Bagwell breaking his neck on Thunder.
Well, there was that.
Over and over again. That was not necessary to be seen. Had Nitro party clips. At least these goofs had their own dancing girls. They said Buff had undergone surgery on Monday, had begun to regain feeling in his limbs even on Thunder. And I looked it up. According to the always reliable Wikipedia, Bagwell suffered several damaged vertebrae and developed spinal shock. That's bad news.
He had 4 crushed vertebrae.
That sucks.
Just off that one bump.
Yep.
Wow. Then Hogan came out. Hogan, Bischoff, and Disciple. The announcers noted 30 miles up the road they can't give tickets away. Hogan buries Nash. He buries Savage. Buries K-Dog. He laughs at the idea like he's supposed to be concerned K-Dog left. Says, I will go find any hobo and he can come pick my orange groves. Now, I know this is supposed to be a vaguely racist joke about Conan leaving, but I just love the idea of Hulk Hogan owning a plethora of orange groves. That's where he got the idea for his tan. Hogan said Brett knew he was in charge, and that's why Brett helped him last week. Brian, talk about Goldberg and Scott Norton.
I'd love to. You know what they do with Goldberg? 8 times out of 10, he just faces another big giant. Gets over every time.
Yes.
They don't put him in there with like a little guy or an athletic guy. They put him in with Scott Norton or another big giant beast, which actually, by the way, is why he got over in 2017 as well. They put him in with a big giant beast
And he killed
3
him in minutes.
times.
Yeah.
And Kevin Owens. But that's the key. Like, everyone talks about Goldberg. Well, you just got to get a guy who looks good and he never loses. That's only part of it. You need to get a guy with almost no training and he never loses. And he goes in there and he has sloppy matches where it looks like at any moment somebody's going to die. Jerry Flynn, it's not this match, but there's another match with Jerry Flynn.
It's the best thing ever.
It's like Jerry Flynn does a jumping kick and Goldberg totally runs the wrong way and almost kills him.
Yes.
Fucking guy flies through the air and lands on his ass. Goldberg just stops what he's doing and looks at him like, why did you fall down?
Yeah.
Like, it's his fault.
Basically, yeah.
And then he lets the guy get to his feet, and then there's no transition. It's just he spears him as hard as he can. People go crazy for this. They went crazy for Bill Goldberg and Scott Norton. One big giant dude beating up another big giant dude. It'll never get old, and it'll always work.
Question. Was this in the same building? Did they tape both episodes, or did they run Monday and Tuesday?
No, there was the same building.
So they saw Goldberg twice on one show.
No. Well, twice on 2 shows, but it was the same building.
There was a 30-minute delay between the first show and the second show.
Oh, they say the Tuesday show was taped on Monday.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So they watched 2 Bill Goldberg matches, and he was even more over the second time he came out.
Fuck, after watching the first one, I'd be more crazy from the second one, too.
Yeah, Brian's not doing this match justice, everyone.
No, it was unbelievable.
This may have been the best match of the Monday Night Wars. These giant angry men shouting and spitting and snarling and clobbering each other and throwing each other around. Norton got more offense than anyone else who gotten against Goldberg yet. I believe he's the first one to get a 2 count with a shoulder breaker. Then he got a near submission with an armbar, and then Goldberg escaped. And as soon as he escaped, spear, jackhammer, win.
And he held Scott Norton up for a long time.
Yeah,
Scott Norton.
who was big.
Yeah.
Probably actually on sheer weight bigger than Bill.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Yeah, this is great. Just great. Okay, Mean Gene calls Bret Hart out for a promo. So the question is, why, Bret, why? They've stolen that line.
Bret is so sick of this goddamn question.
In and out of character.
Yeah, imagine like in 2009 when people were still asking him this about Montreal. He's sick of it in 1998.
Yeah. So, Bret says he sucked up to Hogan for a bit. Then he says pro wrestling is just a money trench. It is filled with pimps and thieves. It's a place where good men die young. If only he knew.
Oh, he knew.
Well, he did know, but it's not getting better. Actually, it's gotten better since then, but it's not going to get better for Bret and his friends in the coming years. So, Bret said Randy is half troll and half lizard. He said he had something to say to Hollywood Hogan.
So he's a lol.
I guess so. I was going to say Trizzard, but yeah, that would work. He said he had something to say to Hollywood Hogan, but he wanted to say it face to face, so he'd wait until tomorrow night. And Gene tried to guilt trip him. Went all granny on him. And Bret says there's no rhyme or reason anymore. There's no such thing as good guys or bad guys. It's time to be the real hitman or something. And that was the end of the Monday night hour of Nitro. So we go to Tuesday. another recap of Bret attacking Savage and handing Hogan the championship. Benoit and Inferno. What a fun wrestling match.
Yeah. Disco Inferno is a great wrestler. Well, Disco Inferno was a good wrestler.
He was in there with a great wrestler.
Was carried to a great match by Chris Benoit.
This went back and forth the whole way. People were totally into it. Benoit hits the diving headbutt to the back. Disco kicks out of that. So Benoit puts him in the crossface, and after a brief tease of getting the ropes, Disco taps out, and that's that. A great match to set up Benoit, who is challenging Booker T at some point down the line. We had an awesome, cheesy Chris Jericho video package.
This was the one where he came out to the dude's music.
Yes.
Too many fucking matches when they're doing 2 shows, and I got to watch them both back to back.
Jericho
I got all
comes
confused.
out to Dean Malenko's music. He has his hair all tied up, trying to emulate Dean Malenko's Widow's Peak, which is awesome.
That was an amazing hairdo that he had here.
Yes. He pretends to cry, says he wants to go home. He laughs at himself and thanks all the fans. So we had Chris Jericho versus Psychosis.
Allow me.
All right.
Until the final 5 seconds of this match, I thought, finally, the streak is broken. Psychosis has had one sloppy, shitty match after another, week after week after week. Finally gets in there with Chris Jericho. They're just having a good match. There's a couple of kind of iffy things, but in general, they pull it off. Until the very end. I don't know what they were thinking. I think they maybe weren't thinking. They did something into a lion tamer.
I think Psychosis was supposed to go for a Frankensteiner off the top rope, and Jericho was supposed to drop in lion tamer position, but the physics do not work out with this.
He almost killed the guy.
Here is what I had to say. First, they botched a Cabrata spot right before that.
Oh.
Somebody fucked something up really bad, I wrote. Then they fucked up something off the top, and Jericho fucked up a Boston Crab and won. That was the finish. The other thing of note here is earlier in the match when Jericho goes to pick Psychosis up, and as he grabs him by the mask, he says, and it's not like he's shouting it to the crowd or into the camera, he just says, just barely loud enough for the mic to pick up, I like your horns.
And most people pick up their opponent by the hair. Jericho made sure to use the horns as handles.
Well, there you go then. Yeah, this went south in a hurry. But it was worlds better.
Oh, yeah.
Entire dimensions better than what followed.
This was like really horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was.
I got one question.
Only one?
Well, I got a lot of questions, but I got one main question. So if you were going to continue to employ the Barbarian,
mm-hmm.
and you were going to continue to employ Meng, why don't you just keep them together as a team?
It's a great idea.
I have
Brian.
no idea.
Why am I watching Hugh Morris and the Barbarian together as a unit?
Well, it didn't start off that way.
What began was Barbarian versus Rocco Rock.
Question.
See, you do have more than one. I knew it.
So this leads to a tag match.
Yes.
Okay. Why wasn't it a tag match?
I have no idea.
Whose idea was it in storyline to just do a singles match?
Or real life. Either way.
Well, the real life was to lead to this. Although
They wanted to do that stupid ECW booking where it would be a singles match that turned into a tag match. But it was stupid there, too. First of all, by the way, a note. The announcers are talking about Bagwell's injury. Talking about all the risks guys are taking. How wrestling's more dangerous than ever. But ratings are sky high. So that's cool. They were totally fine with this. So, Rocco Rock. Wasn't he supposed to be the better half of Public Enemy?
Absolutely.
well, he is, but
No.
that's not saying a whole lot.
I don't think so. Rocco.
But you
began
realize
his-
that these men had bad days, Vinny, for a variety of reasons.
Well, this is one of them.
Rocco Rock was better than Johnny Grunge.
Not on
That
this
doesn't
day.
mean he was always better.
He was not better than Johnny Grunge on this day. Rocco started his comeback with a blown spot. He ran wild, if you want to call it that, with a series of middle rope axe handles. He hit a weak sidekick, and then hit a flurry of the lamest, slowest, most gentle punches you ever saw. I couldn't believe my eyes. So they go to the corner, and the ref's in the corner, and suddenly Hugh Morris is in the corner, and the ref has to pretend he can't see this 300-pound beast. Then Johnny Grunge runs in, Then Rocco gets thrown. He's supposed to be backed up through the table. It looked like in midair he realized, oh shit, the table's not there.
Yeah.
Thankfully, he was able to land on his feet and not die.
When Johnny Grunt hit the ring, he had a trash can and a bunch of toys that they were going to use to beat each other up with momentarily. Keep that in mind.
So the ref made it a tag match. Apparently no DQ tag match as well. They all hit each other with weapons for a while. They teased putting Jimmy Hart through a table. Instead, Rocco and Hugh went through a table. And then Barbarian kicked a trash can into Grunge's face to pin him and thank the good Lord above and the match.
They hit each other with the turkey roasting pans.
The very cheap ones.
The ones you can get at Walmart for
like
97 cents.
Yeah.
That was phony.
Good.
Great.
After everything else I'm watching.
Yeah, thank God. We need more 99-cent trays.
I like to see them use pillows and bubble guns. I don't need to see men hit cast iron skillets in the head every week.
Hey, forget hitting. This next match with Hoovy and Billy Kidman, which actually was a very good match. They had one of those spots that nobody thinks about, except apparently me. They're up on like the top rope or something like that, and Kidman gives him a jumping sidewalk slam or a jumping spine buster off like the middle rope.
Yes, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome until Juventud smashed the back of his head on the mat because it's impossible to take this match without hurting yourself. There were so many spots in the 90s where I know guys got concussions.
Yeah.
And they just kept going because the business was different. Like if you watch some of Sean's matches from like 96 and 97, like this dude would bump and he would land head first, like repeatedly on those hard fucking rings. I have no idea how many concussions Shawn Michaels has, but it's probably numerous. And a lot of these guys doing a lot of this stuff off the middle rope, like everybody knows about the one where it was Mike Awesome. Remember the Mike Awesome? And who did he give that giant power bomb off the top to and almost killed him?
Masato.
Oh, when there was supposed to be a table,
Masato.
wasn't there?
No, there was another one.
Vampiro.
Vampiro, that's right. Nearly killed that
I
guy.
was gonna say Lance, but that was Candido.
That's a famous one, but like guys were landing and hitting their heads all the time back then. And nobody gave a shit about concussions. They just kept going. There's no way Hoovy didn't get a concussion off this thing. But he just kept going, and I bet he worked on Thunder.
Well, I'll say this. He looked great. Hoovy has his bad days and his good days, and his good days are really good. And his bad days are very bad, but this is a good day. Everything he did looked great. And he got the win with a Michinoku driver in the 450 splash. And the flock hit the ring, and he was able to fight off Kidman and Sick Boy because they're small, but Horace and Reese are big. Reese in particular.
Huge.
You forget, I mean, he's taller than the Big Show. He's not thin. He is enormous.
And then he's standing there next to Hoovy.
Well, that also is part of it. But he's also standing there next to Horace,
It's true.
who is big and just towering over him. He's a mountain of a man. So they laid out Hoovy. Mean Gene called out Alex Wright for a promo. Alex came out in what I believe was a lime green corduroy shirt with wavy patterns.
That's fair.
It was cool.
Sure. If you say so.
It's cool for Alex Wright.
I love that Alex Wright is being reintroduced. And so the storyline they came up with was he was on vacation.
Yeah. He was on vacation in his beautiful home country of Germany.
You're not impressed with that storyline, Brian?
No, I'm really not.
He was gone for a long time.
Yeah, that's a long vacation.
Well, he's a wealthy man. He can afford to take time off work.
Well, he could have said that then.
All right. So he explained he had come back to the pigsty of Norfolk, Virginia to teach people to dance.
Oh, good.
Nobody told him what to do or where to do it. He began his dance. Gene was appalled. You would think he like dropped his pants and started twerking or something.
Yeah.
Gene was mortified. Security came out and removed Alex again. Eddie Guerrero versus Booker T.
This didn't suck.
No. I realized Eddie was below average height for a pro wrestler, but Booker T looked 8 feet tall. I loved Eddie's out there with Chavo. And the gimmick is he's trying to teach Chavo how to be a badass, how to be a bad guy, in fact. So he's got Booker in a camel clutch facing Chavo and finds a number of creative ways to be sneaky about poking Booker in the eyes. So that finds like 3 different ways to do it. Distracts the ref. Then he does one where like his thumbs just kind of sneak up like a Booker in the eyes real quick. The whole time he's looking at Chavo like, see, this is how you do it.
At one point he tells the ref, he's got my tights.
Yes.
And the ref runs around and he pokes him in the eye again.
Yes. They did a series of roll-ups. Eddie tried to pin with his feet on the ropes, but Chavo ratted him out. And this distracted Eddie. And Booker had the sidekick and the missile dropkick for the win.
It was an awesome spot where Booker whips him into the ropes. Eddie comes back. He's going to hit him with that jumping spin kick. Eddie grabbed his leg and twisted like somebody throwing a clothesline and they're ducking and grabbing the arm. Except he caught Booker's leg in midair and did a twist on it. It was awesome looking. Nobody ever thought of that. That's the first time I'd ever seen that.
I'm trying to visualize what you're describing and failing.
Okay, so he's throwing the spin kick. Booker's
I was
throwing the
we'd
leg
just
way
move
over.
on. Thank you, Vinny.
Eddie ducks momentarily, but reaches up, grabs his foot, and then spins with it.
Okay.
Spins him where? Like a helicopter? Did he go up? Where'd he go?
He spun his
I don't know what
leg.
he's talking about either, Vinny.
Craig, I'll rewatch the match and I'll see if I can figure out what
Yeah,
happened.
I need more details. Like, did he fall down?
They both fell down.
They both fell down.
So was it a great sell or a great counter?
It was a great counter.
I see.
Who got hurt?
Booker T, Brian.
Okay.
I'm seeing like Eddie caught him and hit a dragon screw.
Kinda.
Okay.
Or I'm picturing he caught his leg and then brought him down for like a, leg hold.
Sure.
I've seen that. But they both fell down.
Sure. I'm sorry I brought it up.
Well, I can't wait till the GIF is all over Twitter tomorrow.
Saturn versus Marty Jannetty. Saturn was wrestling in jorts and he won with a DVD. WCW had John Cena before John Cena and didn't even know it.
And they had Marty Jannetty.
And they used him to lose in 30 seconds to Saturn.
He's a dude.
Yeah. DDP came out for a promo. Challenged Raven to come out and fight. Kidman and Sick Boy came out instead. So Raven was not there tonight. They had a video just for Paige. They played the video on the Nitrotron.
Yeah, they yell, what's his name? Riggs. Riggs, play the video. It's like, Riggs, your production guy's got one eye. Of all the guys in the flock,
I hadn't thought of that.
that's your choice.
And by the way, where are the monitors on Nitro?
Shivani has this thing about a video wall.
Where's that at?
I don't know.
There isn't one.
Yeah. So
I think they had some screens.
Where, Brian?
Like, from the ceiling.
they never showed them on TV. They must have had something.
Yeah.
Craig is not convinced.
What do you want me to do?
I've been to a Nitro. They didn't have screens.
Where do you go to Nitro?
Seattle?
They do Nitro in Seattle? I remember the pay-per-view in Seattle.
They had a Slamboree.
Slamversary.
They had
No, it's
Spring
not Bree.
Stampede.
Spring Stampede.
Spring Stampede,
And
yeah.
it's Comodome.
Well, Tacoma Dome sucks. This was the Scope.
For God's sakes.
Anyway.
I'm sure the Scope had a big screen. That's
So-
where you air the sports stuff, right?
So Raven's doing this video.
Oh, God, you're surly when you're sick.
I'm not sick. I feel great
What's that for? That roll of toilet paper in front
because
of
I have allergies.
I see.
That's different.
Raven says Paige's mother must have hated him, sending him to live with his horrible father and bouncing from family to member to family member. He said Paige claimed to have no memory before age 8, and he can't really be okay with that. Then he said he's already beaten Paige and their issue is now over, which is awesome because he taunted him, buried him, picked a fight, and then ran from the fight. So Sick Boy and Paige are laughing. Paige drops Sick Boy with a diamond cutter. Kidman runs for the hills. Paige leaves with the crowd, at which point Kidman returns to the ring to taunt Paige, but a fan hits the ring and lays him out, and this time the fan was absolutely Canyon.
Oh, yeah. It started the first week, it was a fan. Then they had this great idea to have a fake fan. Now they've had a fake fan 2 weeks in a row. So surely there are going to be more real fans jumping the barricade.
And a Goldberg video package, and then Jerry Flynn versus Goldberg in the second best match of the Monday Night Wars.
That was awesome. This is 48 seconds.
This is 48 seconds. So you're not doing... Well, you kind of did the spot justice. Yes. Flynn does like a spin kick. And by the way, Jerry Flynn is so perfect as the over-the-top bad guy jock from every terrible 1980s high school movie. That's his character. So Flynn misses a spin kick that Goldberg's supposed to duck under, but Goldberg fails to duck under and barrels through him like a train. Just wipes him out.
I love that Jerry Flynn wears his black belt to the ring.
Yes.
He's got to keep his pants up, Brian.
Like, If you ever watch UFC, there's a lot of black belts that fight in UFC. But aside from like Hoist Gracie, and I guess GSP did as well, but nobody comes to the ring wearing their black belt. This guy comes to the ring wearing his black belt and wears it during the match. Then gets slaughtered.
He's slaughtered. So Goldberg runs through him and hits the ropes.
Now here's the thing, by the way, for those of you that don't wrestle, all you got to do is run in a straight line. The other guy jumps in the air and does a spin kick, and you just run in a straight line. Or you grab his leg and like spin him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've heard that works too.
Sure. Anyway, you run straight and you don't have a problem.
Craig's clenching a mighty fist.
I'm going to go back and tell my Booker T story again.
But the point of this is Goldberg's green. And
Yes.
so Jerry Flynn jumps, and his immediate reaction is, I got to get out of the way of this fucking kick. And so he runs in an arc around the guy, or he tries
to.
But the guy is spinning. And so the guy spins. And the way he thinks he should run is the opposite. And he fucking clips this guy out of midair. And this guy really did spin like a helicopter.
He
for
actually
real.
did. He did.
And then fell down to the ground.
Like a broken helicopter.
And then Goldberg looked at him like, you son of a bitch.
Goldberg hits the ropes. I assume, based on what happened next, that he's supposed to come off the ropes and just hit the spear and win.
Sure.
He comes off the ropes, Flynn is still down, and Goldberg throws in the brakes. And as you noted, Goldberg is still totally green. He's had 70-some matches at this point. None of them have gone longer like 4 minutes. And a lot of guys with this little experience in this situation would have panicked. Goldberg froze for a second. And you could see the wheels turning in his head.
His
probably
instincts
also
took over.
in his giant traps. And as noted, his instincts took over, and he said, fuck it. And he grabbed this man who was still down on the ground. He grabbed him around the chest, hit this giant sort of half suplex, half judo throw.
Like a double chicken wing.
Kind of. He grabs it sort of like in a face lock, and he's got the arm, and he kicks his own leg forward, and he throws Jerry Flynn, who's also huge, throws him high into the air, and Flynn comes crashing down. Everyone jumps out of their seat. It's the coolest thing you ever saw. Goldberg gets the spear. Goldberg gets the jackhammer. Fucking awesome.
Let me tell you another awesome thing. About Goldberg, which is a testament to his greenness. Everybody's heard the phrase a million times, the RKO out of nowhere. Shawn Michaels used to hit the super kick out of nowhere. Okay? In both cases, 98% of the time, I know exactly when it's coming. It's never out of nowhere. There was like one Randy Orton RKO in like the last 5 years that literally did come out of nowhere. I was like, holy shit, where'd that come from? But like 99.9% of the time, I see it coming a mile away because of the way that they put their matches together. Goldberg's spears come out of nowhere. That fucking spear came out of nowhere. Why? Because there was no transition or setup. The guy was getting to his feet, and Goldberg just speared the shit out of him.
Yes.
The guy wasn't even in the middle of the ring. He was over by the ropes. Goldberg didn't care.
No.
It's my turn to spear you. He speared him out of his boots. Place goes absolutely nuts because they didn't see it coming.
And the other part of this
Thank God he's green.
Well, he's green, but he is also such a great athlete that despite his enormous size, he can go to full speed in one step.
Oh, yeah.
This is explosive power.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of fast twitch muscle fiber in there. Holy shit, Goldberg.
I bet you that guy has logged less time in the ring than guys that have been in the business 2 years.
Good for him.
You know what I mean?
Well, 70-some matches would be like, what, 2 hours total?
Sure.
Maybe.
Sure.
All right, so they very casually announced that Buff Bagwell had vertebrae fused. They believed he would eventually return to wrestling. And of course he did. It was time for the main event, which they had not mentioned one time throughout the show. Michael Buffer promised that 6 men, 3 against 3, would battle for power, honor, and glory. So here's the 3 against 3. The first 3 is Conan, Scott Steiner, and Bryan Adams.
Conan, who earlier in this program joined the Wolfpack.
So I assumed at this point Steiner and Adams must have as well. You would think. Because it wasn't even... I mean, he joined, he made a big production of joining, then he ran down the leader of the NWO. So you can't stand by Conan and say, sorry, Hulk, I didn't know what I was doing. That excuse won't fly.
Now, I should mention that Scott Steiner, who was on the Conan and Bryan Adams team, this was a week where suddenly he was 20 pounds heavier.
Yes.
I've been waiting for it. Like he was Scotty Steiner, and then one day he cut all of his hair off, and then he bleached it, and then he was Big Papa Pump, but he was not quite Big Papa Pump yet. This week he totally was. He was enormous.
Yeah.
And boy, was he out of his mind.
Also, yeah. So Conan did some great comedy with the Giant. I liked when Giant had him sitting on the top rope and was still taller. And it builds up to Steiner, who, as you noted, is bigger than ever, and Luger, who is Luger. Did you mention the other team is Luger, Giant, and Sting?
No, you didn't.
It's Luger, Giant, and Sting. Luger tags in, he's Lex Luger. Steiner tags in, he's Big Papa Pump. Big Papa Pump. These people went nuts to see strong men face off.
It always works.
It always worked.
I'm telling you, it's timeless.
Everyone was screaming. The announcers were saying, I hoped it was going to happen, that they would stop wrestling and have a mid-match pose down. That would have been awesome. They wrestled.
See, there's a thing. I just got to mention this very quickly. There's a lot of indie guys nowadays that don't go to the gym a lot because they understand that it's 2017 and fans really don't care about bodies. They just want to see good matches. And so there are a lot of guys that have gotten away with being very, very successful without really having much of a body at all. Now, the pendulum is swung because there is a pendulum. And the reality is the day is going to come where the fans get sick of little guys. And then the big guys will run amok again.
The dinosaurs will return.
The dinosaurs always come back. King Kong always draws money.
He does.
Godzilla always draws money.
Preach.
And King Kong versus Godzilla is always going to draw money.
Soon it shall.
Okay, so the point of this is everybody go to the damn gym. Because you never know when the fans are going to get sick of seeing little guys doing flips. The day will come.
So they briefly got the heat on Lex, but he wiped out Conan and Steiner. Both men then tried to tag out to Bryan Adams, which is funny. Then Adams walked out on them. So apparently Adams is still with Hogan.
Or is he?
Or is he? Steiner and Conan walked out together. They got counted out. Giant chokeslammed Vincent because.
Lame.
Well, let's get to lame. Gene brings out Bret Hart for a promo. Bret says, I'm not speaking till Hogan comes out. Hogan and Bischoff come out. This takes a while. Bret puts over Hogan like $1 billion. Says, you made more money than any wrestler ever. You're the most famous wrestler of all time. Hogan's happy to hear this. He thanks Bret for telling it like it is. And Bret says, everyone asked why I helped you. I'll tell you why. He unzips his jacket. He's wearing a Hulk Hogan t-shirt. But then Randy Savage hits the ring and attacks him like an idiot. Because Hogan, Hart, and the Disciple triple team Savage as the show goes off the air.
So we never get the big revelation of why.
It's been 6 months since Montreal.
Did you mention that Bret undid his jacket and he had a Hogan shirt on?
Yes.
I did, but it's
I'm
worth
sorry
it.
about that.
So they paid a fuck ton of money to sign Bret Hart away from WWF.
Millions.
Multiple millions. And they brought him in. He had one match with Ric Flair. And they said, now what the fuck do we do?
Yeah.
And they waited.
Dude, they said the moment he came in, now what the fuck do we do?
They waited and they waited. They had one thing for him to do with Kurt Hennig for a while. He did that and like, now what the fuck do we do? Let's turn him. Okay. Why do we turn him? Doesn't matter.
Why not?
Just do it. So they turned him. They don't know why he turned. So every show has to be a tease of the reason why because they don't know.
No, I hate to shoot down your theory.
They're just hoping that next week they might come
Believe
up
it
with
or
something.
not.
Yes.
No. I already told you guys last week why he turned. Because he wants to win the title from Hulk Hogan.
Well, that's
Right.
not how it comes off.
No, that's what he said in his interview. He goes, I'm going to tell you why I wanted you to remain champion. And then he got cut off by Savage.
Yeah,
Right.
It comes off like he got cut off because they don't know what they want him to say.
Well, it may come off that way, but they actually have a plan for once in their lives. Now, the rest of everything you said is true. He came in, they had no idea what to do with the guy. They make him a fucking special referee. They have no idea what to do with the guy. They give him a match with Flair. It gets over. They're baffled because I guess they didn't want it to get over.
No, they wanted to get rid of Flair.
They take him off TV for God knows how long. They don't know what to do with the guy. They bring him back. He has like one thing with Kurt Hennig. And then now it's like, we'll turn him heel. Kind of. Not really. Sort of. Eventually he's going to fight Hulk Hogan. We think. But we don't know. Because Hogan's got other things like Randy Savage and eventually Goldberg. Yes, it's a mess. The show is a mess.
That's it.
That's Nitro.
That's how it went.
Did you know that it's a mess? This ship is sinking.
How could you not watch this show and not think they go out of business soon?
Well, because the reason is because they were owned by Ted Turner.
Oh, there you go.
I just
Everyone
can't
thought
imagine.
it would never happen.
I can't imagine paying a guy the star power of Bret Hart and not being able to figure out what to do with him. That baffles me.
Well, Craig, because they signed him solely to screw with the other guy. That was
The other
it.
guy didn't want him.
Well, no, the other guy had him under contract.
Right.
So they offered him, they allowed him to negotiate.
Right.
They had to give him X amount of money or he wouldn't have left the other guy. So they paid him enough just to leave, but they had no plans for him because he was not an 80s superstar. I wish I had a song after all that, but I don't. We're going to wrap it up. Let's think more about that dudette. Here he goes.
Word. Vinny forgot.
I was going to do that short
Vinny goes to the movies, the first thing you get.
dudette. Let's see what comes up for that
You
one.
better put WWE in there.
Nope. Doesn't come up.
I do love Dudette. This is
short.
probably a really bad idea.
WWE blonde, or WWF
Yeah.
blonde dudette. Come on, this is the internet. Oh, best blonde WWE divas ever. I think it's just random. Missing short blonde dudette. Well, that doesn't help.
We are, in fact, missing a short blonde Dudette.
Damn it. All right, everybody, we're going to wrap it up. That is it for today. We'll be back on a Thursday with the final hour of Starrcade 84, NXT, and Raw, and Granny. So look forward to that. And that's it. We'll talk to you again after a while.
Good night.
Bye.